unlike the measure that decriminalized nature Ann Arbor is trying to get passed in Ann Arbor in Michigan, the measure they're trying to pass in Washington, D.C. specifically mentions the names of the natural psychedelics they're trying to decriminalize. This initiative, unlike decriminalized nature Ann Arbor's initiative, actually mentions the names of the drugs that they are trying to decriminalize by name, and specifically mentions dimethyltryptamine as being one of them. So there you go. This is what they want to decriminalize in Washington, D.C. Isn't that cool?
All right, let's hear it.
I have some breaking news to share. Another city is about to decriminalize all natural psychedelics. Don't do that. And stop doing that. It's actually a really, really important one. And this is really important breaking news. Washington, D.C. might be the next U.S. city to decriminalize all natural psychedelics. And unlike the measure that decriminalized nature Ann Arbor is trying to get passed in Ann Arbor in Michigan, the measure they're trying to pass in Washington, D.C. specifically mentions the names of the natural psychedelics they're trying to decriminalize. It specifically mentions psilocybin and dimethyltryptamine and several other natural psychedelics, which is really cool. The other thing that's really cool is that Dr. Bronner's soap company donated $100,000 to Decriminalize Nature, Washington, D.C. Now, I don't know if they donated any money to Decriminalize Nature Oakland whenever Oakland became the first U.S. city to decriminalize all of these natural psychedelics. Please stop doing that. But it's really cool. And I'm going to show you the only news article that I know of that has been published about this so far right now. Here it is, people. Here's the news article, which says that David Browner of Dr. Browner's Soap has donated $100,000 towards passing this law in Washington, D.C. This article did have a link to the text of the ballot initiative, but it is no longer there. As you can see, there is a blank spot where it used to be yesterday when I looked at this article. That is because the document has been made private on a page called Scribd. But that's okay because Decriminalized Nature District of Columbia has a webpage which has the text of their ballot initiative. I will share a link to this webpage in the description of this video, but I would like to point out that this initiative, unlike Decriminalized Nature Ann Arbor's initiative, actually mentions the names of the drugs that they are trying to decriminalize by name, and specifically mentions dimethyltryptamine as being one of them. So there you go. This is what they want to decriminalize in Washington, D.C. Isn't that cool? I think that the people from Decriminalized Nature Ann Arbor need to take a lesson from the people from Decriminalized Nature District of Columbia and reword the law that they're trying to pass in Ann Arbor, Michigan to be this specific. And the story in this article is also really cool. Members of the group Decriminalized Nature D.C. met at a pizzeria in Washington, D.C. Of course, they met at a pizzeria, and the effort is being led by Melissa Lavasani, a mother of two, who's had a personal experience overcoming mental health challenges by using psychedelics. And her story is somewhat horrific, but really cool. And by the way, this article also mentions that there's like 100 cities pursuing this. I like how they use the word like. There are actually over 120 cities pursuing this in the U.S. right now. I'm sorry, I think I somehow hit the wrong button on my phone while recording this. But they are right that they have an opportunity to set a precedent for the entire country because they're trying to pass this measure in Washington, D.C. Anyway, in this article, there's a really sad but kind of cool story. I'm not going to read it out loud, but you can read it right there. It's the horrific story of what happened to this poor woman during her childbirth. After that horrific experience, she ended up extremely depressed, getting a prescription for antidepressants, and finding out about psychedelics from Joe Rogan's podcast. Then she began microdosing on shrooms, but because she lived in Washington, D.C., close to the federal government, had a normal job, and had children, she was scared, so she didn't microdose often enough, and ultimately ended up finally being cured by ayahuasca. This sad but interesting story with a somewhat positive ending makes a really good point about the war on drugs and the effect that it has on people. A point that is also made in the text of this ballot initiative, and that point is citizens seeking to improve their health and well-being through the use of entheogenic plants and fungi currently use them in fear of arrest and prosecution. That is 100% true. And that is why nature, meaning natural psychedelics, should be decriminalized, not just in Washington, D.C., but everywhere. And with that said, I am going to end this video and ask you not only to support decriminalizing nature, but also to support my YouTube channel by donating money to me on Patreon and other sites. And if you like this video, please like this video. And please also share this video, watch my other videos, and subscribe to my channel, where I frequently report breaking news about psychedelics that you probably won't hear in the mainstream media. I mean, this article is on marijuanamoment.net, but have you heard about this, like, on Fox News? Have you heard about this, like, on NBC? Like, where else have you heard about this other than from Marijuana Moment or from your friends on social media or, like, from me? If you like finding out about things like this before you hear about them on the mainstream news, you might like to subscribe to my channel. Bye, people.